are finding ourselves a place to fish. We got ourselves a good view of the lake. I just saw this thing eat an entire Lahontan cutthroat trout, like in one bite. Per usual in van life, gotta fix something. Let's go, boys. We got ourselves one on the jig, baby. That's good. Doing a little van trip out to my favorite place in the whole world to fish right now. It's called Pyramid Lake. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like to actually pack all the stuff that I need for the trip, and then we're gonna do the dang thing. So this is all of the food and drinks that I'm gonna eat for the whole weekend. It's basically just some snack crackers, some peanut butter protein Costco thingies, and then I have 4 of these things. I call them mail meals. They get delivered to me in the mail once a week. They're pretty good. I'll show you guys what they look like when I eat them. And then 4 energy drinks, because this is what I do right now instead of coffee. They're actually energy waters, and they're actually pretty healthy. There's only a few ingredients. Frozen breakfast sandwiches that go into the freezer. Ooh, and I forgot my parents dropped off a burrito from a local Mexican restaurant, so I'm definitely bringing this. Besides that, I actually already have a halfway full water tank here. I did charge her up all the way up to 100% before this trip, so that I can start with a full battery. I do have an alternator charger as well as solar panels to charge the batteries on the go, but it's nice to start at 100%. So 80% of the stuff I just leave in here perpetually, like most of this fishing gear, but I did have to bring like my Pyramid Lake net because of these monster trout that are in here, my boots and waders. And then the last thing that I'm packing is just a couple changes of clothes, a fly fishing shirt, some thick socks for inside of my wading boots, and a sweatshirt because it's not going to be super cold out there. Actually, I might bring my fly fishing jacket just in case it's like cold in the mornings or something. And I do have that shower in the van, so I need to remember to bring one fresh towel. I almost always forget this actually, and I end up drying off with like a t-shirt or something, but Maddie will be proud that I remembered the towel this time. And very last thing, which I did almost just forget, the shaving kit. And with that, we are ready to depart. One of the things I love about vans is that they're just ridiculously easy to pack and get out of Dodge within, definitely less than an hour, most of the time within less than 30 minutes. One thing that's really annoying with Sprinters is it's just always hard to get it out of 4-wheel drive. I'm trying to get it out of 4-wheel drive right now because it's not super snowy on the roads. I don't need it. I'm in neutral, I'm stopped, I'm on a flat surface, and it just won't come out of 4. Okay, so the lowdown of this trip. Pyramid Lake is not a super well-known place to fish, but the cool thing about it is that it has some of the biggest trout, I believe, in like the whole world. The trout that live in the lake are they're called Lahontan cutthroat trouts, and they're actually native to Lake Tahoe from a really, really long time ago. And for some reason, they just grow at an incredibly fast rate inside Pyramid Lake, which is slightly alkaline. It's like kind of salty, but just barely. And at this lake, it's considered a trophy trout if it's 20 pounds or more, which if you guys don't know, like a normal trout that you pull out of a river is like 1 pound, maybe 2 pounds. A really big trout in most places is like 5 pounds. 20 pounds is like insane. These things are absolute monsters. They look like salmon. And if you guys haven't been able to tell over the last couple years with my travel videos, I am obsessed with fishing. So going out to Pyramid Lake with the hope of catching a monster trout is one of my favorite things to do. So we've got to make our way outside of Lake Tahoe into Nevada, which Lake Tahoe is pretty much on the border of Nevada anyway, so it's not that far. And in about an hour and a half, I'll show you guys what Pyramid Lake looks like. The first glimpse of the lake. She's looking beautiful. Now we are finding ourselves a place to fish, and although you can get to a lot of these beaches with just a normal fifth wheel or RV, the ones that I like to go to tend to require, at a bare minimum, like an SUV with 4-wheel drive. We are currently in 4 Low and making our way over the bumpy terrain. All right, we found ourselves a parking spot. It ended up being pretty flat, but I did use the leveling blocks to get even flatter. And we got ourselves a good view of the lake. It's pretty dang nice out here, so I think I'm actually going to suit up and try and get some castage in before the sun goes down. Time to suit up and get the rods rigged. Notice the extra large net, because this is what you need if you're going to catch a fish out of here. So there's a few different ways to fish Pyramid Lake, but my method of choice is fly fishing. And it's not normal fly fishing like you do on a river. I'll try and explain it in the simplest way possible. You basically use these two-handed rods that are ridiculously long. And the reason they're so long and they're two-handed is because you want to be able to huck them out really, really far. It's called an indicator rig. So basically you have a little bobber. You can see right there. You go about, I don't know, 8 or so feet down, and then you tie 2 little flies. And I'll show you guys the flies that we're going to use today in a second, but I'm going to re-rig this for the conditions that I think they're going to catch fish on today. This here is my box of flies just for Pyramid Lake. I just filled it all up today with all of my flies, so it's pretty much jam-packed full. These ones we might try and use tomorrow. Today we're going to use these midge-looking things up here. They're pretty small, but this time of year the fish kind of just swim around, hover the coast, and hopefully munch one of these. Fly number 1, and it's really bright outside, so I think we're going to try one of these bright pink ones as fly number 2. If you are coming out here for the first time, and actually the guy who tied these particular flies and gave them to me was the guide that we used. He was by far the best guide I've had on this lake. His name's Rob. I will put a link to Rob, the Pyramid Lake fishing guide, in the description below if that's more your vibe. Not affiliated or anything. I just had a great time with him, and I think he will get you on some big old fish. And Pyramid is barbless hooks only. Gotta make sure to pinch this bar down. Okay, so we finally have our 2 little midge flies tied on. Let's get out there and start fishing. So although people tend to associate fly fishing with being super complicated, at this point we literally just like throw the bobber out there and you kind of just wait. The moment you get a bobber down, you're in for a wild ride most of the time here. No bites yet, but it sure is beautiful out here as the sun's kind of starting to go down and mountains are getting orange in the background. Okay. Sun's starting to really go behind the mountains. It's starting to get dark. It is time to wrap it up for tonight. Okay, back in the van. I'm freezing cold, immediately firing up the diesel heater here. And it's these exact times when this little Extendo-vent that I created is the perfect solution, because I'm super cold. I can kind of just put it right at my toes here. I did just launch this product. You can buy it on my website, 70savage.com. Oh my God, my nose is literally dripping. Per usual in van life, gotta fix something. My toilet fan stopped working, which is a bad problem with this composting toilet because that's how all of the smell goes outside of the van. But I pulled it apart and I realized it was just like this connection got a little finicky. So kind of just wiggled it around, pushed it back in, and it seems to be working. While we're in here though, I am taking the opportunity to clean the stainless steel shower pan since it's normally covered by this thing. All right, all back to looking good again. And the Extendo-vent kept me warm the whole time. It's kind of crazy. So I have 2 diesel heaters installed in this van. The original one that I had installed was this guy right here. And then my desk corner got cold, which is why I installed a second one under the passenger seat. And that's when I came up with the Extendo-vent. But now that the Extendo-vent exists and is installed on this heater. I actually don't even turn on the original diesel heater anymore. For some reason, when the heat is just pointed in the direction that I need it to go, it seems like it keeps the whole van warmer in a way more efficient way. I don't know if that's placebo effect because I made the thing or if that's accurate, but yeah, these days I'm really only running my singular diesel heater. Thank you, Extendo-vent, you have served your purpose. For tonight, you're going back into normal mode. Okay, now that we're done with the construction, I'm gonna turn the van into bubble mode, and we're gonna put all the window covers up so that we got our own little personal bubble in here. Nobody can see. Another thing I need to fix this summer, squeaky fan motor. Always something. All right, my back hurts from casting and driving all day, so I'm going to use my portable foam roller here, roll the old back out. This is awesome for van life because it collapses and it fits in my little skinny drawer. Put a link to it in the description below. That's good. My right shoulder is beat up from that small amount of casting I did today. Okay, for dinner, we are doing the remainder of the burrito. Dang, there's actually not that much left. This thing is amazing though. It's like smothered in this kind of spicy red sauce. Okay, so it's like 9 o'clock. I'm going to put the camera down and kind of just chill, maybe watch some YouTube since we got the Starlink booted up here. Early wake up call tomorrow at like 5:30 a.m. So see y'all in the morning. Morning. It is about 5:45. I can't even tell you guys how close I was to just like setting another alarm, going back to sleep for another couple hours. I am tired this morning for some reason. Oh man. Dang. Take a look at that sunrise though. Woo! She pretty. And we got a couple van buddies over there. All right, now that I'm up, I'm starting to get a little excited. Breakfast, I'm gonna have caffeine, and the van's like a 1-minute walk from where I'm fishing. So whenever I get hungry, I'll come back up here, take a little break, but we're gonna rip this highball and get out on the water ASAP. Oof, just opened the Whoop this morning, and I am fairly deep into the red, which means makes sense why I feel like I should probably go back to sleep. But we are going to prevail, and we are going to get out on the water. The reason you wake up this early is because it's the most productive time for fishing. People say that most of the bites happen between like 6 and 9 a.m. To be honest, I haven't had that experience, which is partially why I'm unmotivated. I see one good spot over there still left. I'm going for it. That spot's my favorite, or one of my favorites on those 2 rocks. Yeah, so this is kind of a cool rock here. Got a little spot to stand. And looks like the drop off is pretty close. So let's go ahead and get our first cast out there. Actually, first of all, I'm gonna swap this fly from chironomid to a little leech. Okay, so this is a different type of fly. This one's called a balanced leech. Actually, my buddy Jesse at the fly shop tied this one for me, and last time I caught a monster trout on this thing. So we're gonna give it a try again. And thanks, Jesse, for giving me another one. Time for the first cast here. No bites yet. Time for a fly change. All right, we got the traditional red and white midge, and then a little like brown bead with a little red on it here. I'm also thinking that like this little cove right here might be good, so I just cast it to where I can see it to the right of this friggin' sunbeam here. Also, if I turn my camera around, oh, I think I just got a bite actually. But if I turn my camera around on the stand that I have it mounted here, this is the angle you guys get, so pretty sexy, huh? Okay, I'm switching spots here. No action, and I'm not seeing any cruisers swim by me. Do you mind if I fish off this?
It's all good. I think there's enough room.
Sometimes this cove, I feel like, is pretty good.
They're everywhere.
It's true. I keep seeing these monster trout just cruising along here. So I've kind of casted it out right there-ish. And let's see if we can get one to bite. Okay. Everyone around me is indicator fishing. They're doing the same thing that I'm doing. Nobody's got a single fish. So I'm gonna go try a completely different method, something I've never tried before. And in order to do this new method, we have to go to a different spot that has a sandy beach. So I'm gonna go try and find one of those right now. And we're off. This beach here is called Windless Bay. It's one of the ones that's pretty easy to get to. As you can see, there are a ton of people out here. This seems like a pretty cool spot. It's just past Windless, kind of more on the point. This is also pretty dang cool view from here. It's about 10 a.m. so I'm gonna make myself a breakfast sandwich here. So this is my brand new reel with a sinking fly line on it. And we're gonna be fishing it on a one-handed 8-weight rod this time. So it's a bit different than that big two-handed rod. It's still big, it's just meant for one-handed kind of normal fly fishing casting. And the technique that we're gonna be using is called stripping. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be getting naked for you guys, or fortunately, but what you do, I'll show you when we get out there. You kind of just cast this thing out, let it sink all the way to the bottom, and then pull it back in slowly with little sharp poles. Hopefully, on one of those poles, you get a dead weight, which means you got a fish on the end. Okay, so this is the setup here. We got our sinking fly line, and then about, I don't know, a foot until we got our pyramid beetle, which looks like this, kind of a funny looking fly. And then about a foot behind that, we've got our weightless woolly bugger. I don't know exactly what you call it, but this is the setup that people use for stripping. I'm super excited to try this setup out. It's something I've wanted to try ever since I started fishing pyramid. By the way, I don't think there's any way to look cool in fly gear. I just look like an absolute friggin' nerd right now. Anyways, let's get it. All right, wading in here without a ladder. Let's see how deep we can get. Huh, it's very slippery. Okay, I do think I might have picked the wrong beach because I already got my first snag here. I'm gonna have to break this off. I realized what I'm walking on here, and it's this like thick, muddy clay. I definitely don't want to be walking around on that stuff. You need sand so that these things don't get hung up. I'm actually gonna go drive to a different beach. Well, I was just putting this into the van, and I stuck it in there, and the wind blew the door open that it was resting up against, and I snapped the tip off my rod, so a little frustrated. Really wanted to try this out. Now I need to get this rod repaired, but that's how it goes. That's the end of our stripping for today. These guys do come and check your permit, so make sure you got them if you're coming out to Pyramid. It's funny because my brother gave me that rod because he broke it and didn't want to get it fixed, and I got it fixed. I just took like one cast and it broke again, so that rod is like cursed or something. Okay, I did hear from Rob, the guide, that spider point is pretty good, and yesterday I wasn't able to find spider point, but I think I'm gonna give it another shot. Okay, just parked briefly because I kind of want to go check out spider point here, or what I believe is spider point. Okay, I didn't really like that spot very much. Okay, so I just got lost in conversation with a guy that I met here just now. His name's Song. Shout out to you, Song, if you're watching the video. I did tell him about the channel, and after that conversation, all things considered, I'm actually just going to go back to the place that we started this morning, Pelican Rocks, and we're going to run it back. Pretty much same situation with the indicator rig. I've got a rebirth of energy. I don't know, that's a weird way of putting it, but I've got more energy again. I'm feeling hyped. I'm hoping we can catch a hog, and see you guys there. All right, so last time we parked over there and camped there last night. Today we are camping here primarily so that I can watch all these guys and get the lowdown on whether anyone's catch anything. We are gonna make some grub because I'm a little hungry. This one looks good. So these are the things that I call mail meals. I get them in the mail once a week from this company called Cook Unity. I think that they're the best mail meals I've tried pretty much every male meal that exists, and I like these ones a lot. I'll put my referral code for Cook Unity in the description below if you guys do want to try it. That way I think you get like half off and I get half off, or there's some sort of deal. But I'm gonna cook this bad boy up. 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the microwave. This is what it looks like all cooked up. I can't say that it looks actually super appetizing, but I think it tastes pretty good. All right, here we go again. Right back where we started. I just saw this thing eat an entire Lahontan cutthroat trout, like in one bite. I'm pretty sure it was like a 5+ pounder. That thing just chomped it. Oh my God. They're just swimming by constantly. That's a small one. That's probably like a 3 pounder. But it's kind of cool to see them, but at the same time, it is kind of disheartening when there it goes off that way. When they're swimming by and you're not catching them. Also, always makes me stoked to turn around and just see the van peeking out a little bit. Thought maybe I'd try a little wading action here. So I'm just in the water. It's kind of nice actually. Pretty wild. I keep seeing like monster fish literally 10 feet away from my feet, just swimming right here. Swimming right there. Can you see it on the camera? It's pretty big. Those are decent size. I've seen some like literally twice that big. For some reason, I don't think these cruisers want my bait very much. I think these ones are in spawn mode or something. Okay, so it's about 4:30 and I haven't got a single bite, so I'm gonna try a little bit of a secondary tactic here. I have my bass rod, which is just a bait caster. Okay, I actually just got my very first bite on this one. I saw it happen right here. It was super cool. Okay, so this is the technique. I'm literally just going like this, kind of mimicking a strip on a fly rod, but with my little bait. And that seems to be what they like. Let's go, boys. We got ourselves one on the jig, baby. It's a pretty good one. Oh, now we gotta figure out how to net it. Okay. Come here, boy. Nice thing about this bait caster, it's a lot thicker line than the fly rod. Does not want to go in the net. Oh, got him in the net. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And the lure just came right out, which you love to see. Such a cool fish. He's really fired up. And look at those pretty colors. He's in spawn mode. Okay, I'm gonna try and get my camera out so I can take a photo here. Oh my God, it makes me so happy. Such a cool fish. So it's about 7:15. I'm absolutely freaking exhausted. Been casting nonstop since I caught that fish at like 5-ish. I'm gonna turn my hot water heater on so that I can take a warm shower when I get back in the van. Should be a nice treat for the end of the day. Come on, buddy. Nice. Cool. What do you want? A full-on indicator fish for the day. Yeah. Yes. All right. So I ended up going back to the indicator, and I was looking around, check out the scenery while the sun was going back, and I looked back at my indicator, and I was like, pretty sure it's gone. Thankfully, it kind of set itself. Sometimes you gotta react quickly, but this time it didn't really seem like it. All right, that's the fish. All right, it's almost 8 o'clock now, so the sun's going down, and as you can see, the clouds have rolled in, which has brought us a little bit of wind. All right, and finish the day off. Just a little tiny guy here. I don't even know if this is a trout, to be honest. Anybody knows what this is? Leave it in the comments below. Okay, well, it's getting pretty dark. I am beyond exhausted. I do still want to rinse off briefly though. Oh yeah, that's hot. I just burned a bunch of water trying to show you guys if I had hot water, but I think I have enough. Yeah, quarter tank, should be plenty. Dr. Bronner's, my favorite van soap. That was actually really, really nice. I feel very clean. That was one of the better van showers I've had because like tonight's the last night, so I don't really feel like I needed to conserve water. I did use about 1/8 of a tank of water, and I have a 32-gallon water tank, which sounds like 4 gallons if my math is correct, and that feels like a ton of water. I feel like there's absolutely no way I used 4 gallons of water, but that's what the indicator says. So the main downside of a wet bath is that, well, now the whole bathroom's wet, so when I get up, if I need to pee in the middle of the night, then I'm gonna have to deal with a wet bath, and it sucks when you're half asleep and you touch a wet, cold wall in the side of the wet bath. Okay, it's 8:30. I think we officially fished for 14.5 hours. I think that's literally the longest day I've ever fished in my life, but it was well worth it. Catching 2 fish for the video so that you guys could see how freaking amazing the fish out of this lake are. Makes me feel so happy. I'm really glad that we accomplished that. I actually didn't see anybody else anywhere around me catch a single fish the entire day, guys. And there was like probably 7 to 8 fishermen around me. So we got incredibly lucky. I'll take it. That being said, I feel slightly delirious and insane. I am gonna go pretty much straight to bed here. See you guys in the morning. Morning, y'all. It is not 5:30 a.m. It is 7:30. I was not sleeping very well, so I decided to turn off the 5:30 alarm and prioritize resting up. Looks like everybody else got up just as early as yesterday though. Oh, yes, this guy's on a fish. Alrighty, heading to the same rock we were on yesterday evening. Fly rod and the bait caster, same fly setup and same jig on the bait caster from yesterday. Okay, fished for a couple hours, not a single bite. Not seeing anyone else catch anything. I think it's time to call it. And it took about 4.5 minutes to pack the van back up. Had to make sure that the vents were closed, windows were closed, and put a couple things away so they wouldn't flap around while we drive. Speaking of which, gotta put this away still. And we're gonna venture back home. Farewell, Pyramid. Until next time. Quick pit stop on the way home. I used to love Ike sandwiches back in college, and I found one on the way back from Pyramid Lake, so got our lunch here. And I strongly prefer to eat in the van anytime I get takeout food like this. So we're gonna go back to the van, eat it there where there's peace and quiet. Hell yeah. That was amazing. I feel somewhat alive again. Now it's time to go back to Lake Tahoe. There's the Tahoe Mountains. Okay, we made it home. And it is time for landing procedure. First off, we gotta drain the water lines because it does freeze overnight here and you don't want water in those things. So what I do for that is I press the winterize button, which opens the gravity drain for my lines and then cuts off the flow to the tank so it actually doesn't drain the whole water tank out. Then to make those drain better, I just open both the sink and the shower to give it some negative air pressure so that it really just all drains out. And since I did build this winterization thingy to open the water pump to fresh air, I can actually turn the water pump on for a little bit and it pumps air through the system instead of water, basically additionally flushing out the lines. By the way, we used quite a bit of water, almost half a tank, maybe like a bit less because we started with a little less than half. We also have to drain the gray tank. Let that thing drain for a little bit. Then we have to take out the toilet. So there's a number 1 and a number 2. Number 1 is just this pee jug here. I just pour it out. Then the number 2 is just a trash bag with the solids in it. I basically pull the trash bag out. I put it into the kitchen trash bag and then I twist it all nice and tight and throw it in my home trash bin. We also used about 15% of the battery bank. It's at 85% now over the course of 2 days. Part of the reason that we only used so little is because the solar recharged it. The solar generated 1.4 kilowatt hours yesterday, and I have a 12-ish kilowatt hour battery bank, so solar recharged about 10%. So weekend trip is definitely well within the means of this van. I've taken it out much longer than that. You can get off grid with this van for about 2 weeks. Water is really the main constraint, and if you want to survive that long off grid, you definitely gotta use water more sparingly than I did. Besides that, it's really just packing up the clothes that I took as well as the food that I originally brought, and good to go. And with that, actually wraps up our trip. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I was pretty stoked to have caught a couple of pyramid trout for you guys. Those are about the average size trout that come out of that lake. So if you go, you should expect to catch something similar, but they do get a lot bigger. So if you guys like this video, maybe I'll do another pyramid video next time I go. And just let me know that you guys did like this by leaving a like and a comment below, because that's the feedback that tells me whether or not I should keep doing this. I'm freaking exhausted, so I'm gonna go in and take a nap. And appreciate you guys watching. See you guys next time.